who's the best team in the NFC right now? It's amazing. The Lions right now have won 9 straight games for the first time since 1934. Their 10-1 start is tied for their best in team history because in 34 they won 10 straight to start the season and then lost 1. They're the only undefeated road team at 6-0 in the NFL right now. They lost David Montgomery in the middle of that game, and they still took care of the Colts. You know? Jahmyr Gibbs, the whole thing. I mean, it really wasn't Amon-Ra's day either in Indianapolis. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Because before Montgomery left, he and Gibbs scored again in the same game. 4th teammate running back duo to have 9 games where they've scored at least 1 or rushing touchdowns in the same game. 9 games in NFL history. 5 of the 6 running backs that make up the other 3 running backs in those duos are Hall of Famers. Come on. Jared Goff, no touchdowns, no interceptions, and passer rating of 93.4. Usually, you know, his passer ratings are at least a high-grade fever, not a light FM station. You know? The Colts held him without a touchdown pass for the first time since week 2. And the Lions, that game was never in doubt. Really wasn't. 24-6 final. Didn't blow them out. But the Lions are still the Lions right now. But the Eagles are killing people, too. Absolutely killing people, too. You know, this is what Jalen Hurts, had to say afterwards. We'll hit both of these teams here. Jalen Hurts had this to say after the game last night about Barkley and what he brings to the team and what the team's doing as a whole. I love – check out – if you hear the soundbite that jumped off the page at me when I read it, and I kind of want to co-opt for all of us here. Go ahead.
He's a hell of a player. He's a hell of a player, and I said that. I said that after the Jacksonville game, and how blessed he is to do some of the things he's capable of, and you accompany that. When you accompany an issue with other issues, you become a problem. And then I think. We've got a lot of talent on our team, but I think we're a force when we're all together, and I think that's evident out there when we can find our rhythm and how we play and feed off of one another. And he set the tone for us.
Did you hear that? You get when you accompany a problem with another problem, or when you accompany an issue with another issue, you get a problem.
I like that.
That might be RES Consulting. we might have to co-opt that. Because you know what another issue for them or the opponent is the defense now. Again, last night, it was flashing all over the place, and it was obvious. That Cooper DeJean, holy cow. Mm-hmm. He's closing. He was closing on Kupp. He was closing on Nakua. He was closing on Kyron Williams. He was closing, and was closing on Stafford, everybody, including, unfortunately, for Brandon Graham, his last game as an Eagle, potentially, if not an NFL stud, one of our favorites, the OG BG from the U of M, tore his triceps in that game. But he was all over Stafford. That D-line whipped the Rams' offensive line on Sunday night. Straight up. No lie. No lies detected here. But then you got the Lions, man. And I'm about to open this up for conversation here, and we'll ask Jason Kelsey when he strolls into our studio in hour number 2. These Lions, it's amazing. The Eagles' storylines, and because these matter. These matter the players in the locker room. These matter in terms of what they've been through and what they're doing. The Eagles, we all know, made it to the Super Bowl a couple years ago, lose. Last year was a total disaster for them. Everybody, they changed coordinators. They come back in. First 4 weeks, they're up and they're down. They're a 500 team. They hit the bye week. They haven't lost since then. The Lions, we all know, ascended last year after a dreadful start to the Dan Campbell era when they couldn't win a lick on the road, and now they don't lose on the road. And this is what Dan Campbell had to say about the state of his affairs.
Yeah, I think we're so locked in and the here and now, and that it's hard to. It's a little bit like last year, man. You get through it, and then maybe you can take a breath and turn around and look behind you and see what you did. But right now, we're just going. We're rolling. The one that I was because I did read that this morning was about, wins on the road. And I don't know what we are, 5-0, 6-0 this year, whatever. But it gave me a flashback to 22, and at that point we were 0-11-1 on the road, 0-11-1, and just thinking about that, and now I think we're 16-5 since then, and just that group of guys. I said something in the locker room about it, and looking at Golf and Frank and Deck and Sewell and Aleem and Saint, and it's like, man, you remember that. But all of those guys are responsible for the flip.
They are 6-0 on the road in the NFL this year with an NFL best point differential on the road of plus 78. Helps to pack your defense and have a rushing touchdown in 25 straight games, including the playoffs. That's the longest such streak in the history of the NFL. They're hitting you in the mouth.
No better running back tandem, right?
That is correct, but the Eagles have a running back tandem in the same person.
Right.
So I ask.
Yeah.
Best team in the NFC. Best team in the NFC. Say it. Say it.
Eagles.
Best team in the NFC. TJ Jefferson, best team in the NFC.
I'm not going to say what you want me to say.
Say it so Karl Anthony Towns can hear it in New York City.
I can't.
Say their name.
That place where Rocky Balboa ran up the steps, I guess.
You won't say it.
The place where Joel Embiid plays basketball sometimes.
He's like those.
Sometimes.
He's like those friends of mine from the Ohio State that this week will not be able to spell the name Michigan with an M. It'll be Ixigan, and it'll be the school up north this week. Just call them whatever.
The city where Dr. J played basketball.
I'll take the other way. I'm sticking with my Lions.
I agree.
Thank you, DJ Mikey Diaz and D's Nuts.
But that's also recency bias, too.
It's not recency bias.
I'm saying the Eagles were great last night.
Recency? What's more recency bias than
recency taking the Eagles.
Yeah,
I'm saying they looked so good last night.
They did.
And they did. They looked great.
They did.
I've been telling you guys about the Eagles for a month.
I would be stunned. It would have to take the Vikings or the Packers or whoever wins the NFC. I don't know. Could the Bucks go into Detroit and shock them like they did in week 2?
Almost in the playoffs last year,
Somebody's
too.
going to have to go into somebody's house,
Right?
Yeah.
and
not
beat
wipe their
them
feet.
in January to avoid a Lions-Eagle. By the way, a Lions-Eagles
feet up on the couch.
NFC Championship game.
Charlie Murphy.
Your friends at Fox right now are putting
Big Fox?
everything on their hope chest, their television hope chest right now. Because if Dallas isn't in it, or the Giants are not in it, and if the Packers aren't in it, I'm just naming some teams. Or the Niners are not in it. Lions and Eagles would be a smash hit.
Oh, yeah.
Saquon and those two running backs. Let's hope Montgomery is okay. But I'll still take the Lions right now. But the Eagles have absolutely entered the chat. No two ways about it. Catch the Rich Eisen Show every single day on the Roku Channel, 12 to 3 Eastern, for free.